Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Agent Power Virtual Agent. In today's episode we will learn all about topics. Coming up right after the intro. Alright, let's start today's episode. Remember, we're learning about PVAs or Power Virtual Agents step by step, and that's why last week we learned how to get started. And that's a must before you watch this episode. The link is coming up to you right now on top. You can watch that if you don't know how to set up the sign up process or licensing or trial. You can just watch that episode. It's a short one. Okay, so, all right, let's see what's an agenda today. So we'll see what are topics, we will see how to create or author topics, and what are nodes and what is its connection to topics. We will also look into system fallback briefly, and that would be covering the entire topic. Okay, so to begin, you'll have to log into powerva.microsoft.com, which I've already done. So let me just switch my screen and go here. So you are in home, so that's your home. We have discussed all this in the last episode. What we are going to do is look at topics today. So I'll just click on topics. When I click on topics, okay, so before we start creating topics or authoring topics, we need to know what are topics. So topic, as the name suggests, is the core of your bot or PVA. It tells you how would your conversation layout be with the users. So a chatbot and the user's conversation layout, that is defined by topic. Now, quickly looking into how to create topics, and when you think about that, first of all, it comes up with a set of topics already created. So you can see 4 user topics, and then you've got system topics. Now, system topics are something which are there in the system, and you won't be able to change them directly here. So if I click on one of them, you cannot edit that, but you can always define your nodes or messages or call to action, whatever you want, in the authoring canvas, which is the conversation layout. So you can always make changes there, but you cannot change anything here. Going back, while user topics, again, you can make changes in them. You can switch them off or on. This comes as lessons. You can see it says lesson 1 to 4. So it goes from a simple topic to a complicated one. And when you look at simple or complicated, it's just talking about the layout of the conversation, which path it goes to, based on the user's input. Now that's that. If I want to delete it, I can do it from here. So you've got these ellipses. So first of all, you've got the option to going to the authoring canvas right from here. You can look into the analytics right from here, and then you've got these more actions ellipses, and I can click on that and make a copy of it, or I can delete it. Okay, there was a message, so please ignore my silence for that moment. Okay, then I can switch it off or on right from here as well. As you can see, when you're creating topics, if there are any errors, that would be visible to you here. Now for suggested topics, you can see it only gives you go to the authoring canvas, or you can go to analytics. One of the best part here on the list itself is you can click to see your trigger phases. So you can see the number at the front of it, and if I click here, I can see the trigger phases right? Similarly, in the system topics as well, I can click here and see the trigger phrases. We will talk about trigger phrases in a bit when we are trying to create a new topic. Now, we have seen the existing topics. They are of two types: user topic or system topics. System topics, and 4 of these user topics comes by default. So as long as you create a login on powerva.microsoft.com, it will come up with these. User topics, which are already there, these 4 of them are for you to be able to learn about the complexity which you can manage within topics. So it gives you lesson 1 to 4. While system topics are the most basic ones which anybody would need, like greetings, like end the conversation, like thank you, and topics like that, basically, with different trigger phrases. And you can see some of them have got no trigger phrases, right? Now, because they must have got an action towards it. So end of conversation might provide you an option of, are you satisfied with it or not, and things like that. So end of conversation might be triggered from another topic. Right, so those were user topics and system topics. And please bear in mind, you cannot change the system topic name details or trigger phrases, but you can certainly change the messages or the nodes you want to create for it in the authoring canvas. Now, what we'll do is create a new topic, and we are going to do a test and see how it works. So click on new topic here, and now you need to give it a name. So let's see, what do we want to say? Let's assume that we are one of the health organizations. Let's assume any country's health ministry or health organization website which want to provide information about COVID-19. So we'll create a topic here, which is how more info. So this name would be short, more info on COVID-19, right? I'll just copy and paste this in the description. You can have description as lengthy as you want, but I'm just doing it for this. Now, for trigger phrases, it is recommended that you have minimum 2 words in it. Mine would be longer anyway. So first one would be more info on COVID-19 itself. Second would be more information on COVID-19. Third one would be more info on coronavirus. So that's how you create trigger phrases. This is basically, how do you expect a user to reply to the bot? Like, they can ask questions in different way. They can ask coronavirus as one single word or 2 different words. So we'll look into that. So what we'll do is more info, and we will say, right, we'll also put in this, how can I get, okay, so we've added 5 trigger phrases here. Now we can hit save topic. So all you have to do is provide a name, description, and add some trigger phrases. Now when we do this, let me just save topic. So hit save after you've done that. If there are any errors, it would be displayed here, but it is successfully saved. So we have, oh, it does say there's one error. So we'll look into that. What's the error? Okay, yeah, obviously I've just created the trigger. So it's showing me error because the message. So what it does is, based on the trigger phrases, that's the first point of your conversation layout. So the trigger phrases becomes the first bit of your conversation layout, which means if somebody asks the same phrase on your chatbot's chat, it will trigger something. right, in the chatbot, in response to the user. So it will trigger something. Now, the first thing which is created by default is that it by default adds a node, which is show a message, which obviously is blank because we haven't specified anything, because we just created this topic, right? So once you'll see the error here, and when I clicked on it, you've seen my screen, it shows that enter a message, which we'll do now. So what we'll do is, now we have saved the topic, we have got a name, we have got certain trigger phrases, and now we'll go to the authoring canvas. So if I go there, so this is what I was talking about. There are 5 trigger phrases, which means if somebody enters something like this in the chat, you will see this message. Now, let me just do one thing. I'll go to this health.nsw.gov.au. That's what I was talking about, different health organizations. So my bot will reply, you can go to, and don't mind my message, I'm thinking of the next step as well. So you can go to this website, or you can ask me your question. Oh, sorry. Go to this, or you can ask me the question and I will try my best to answer. Right, so that's what we have done here. Now, based on this, we can further create something, add a node. When I say create something, I basically meant add a node, so that's why this button is there for. So we have added a message. Now we'll hit save. Okay, now if I go back, right, I have saved it. Save it. Okay, let's see if there are any more errors. So there are no errors, right? So status is blank, so there are no errors. So we're good that way. Now, let me go back to my slide deck. So the first thing was, in today's episode, is what are topics. I've tried to explain it to you. It's the backbone or the core of Power Virtual Agents, or any chatbot platform for that matter. Now, we've looked at the type of topics which comes out of the box, the user topics and the system topics. System topics cannot be edited or changed, like name, description, and trigger phrases wise, but you can obviously change or add what messages you want to show in the authoring canvas. Now, user topics are out of the box. Therefore, listen 1 to 4, that's what you get. It tries to explain you the simple conversation path through to the complex conversation path in lesson 1 to 4. So you can look at it before you try to create a topic on your own. Now, there are 2 ways to create a topic. You can directly hit new topic button on top, which will let you create a user topic. And the other one is suggested topics. We will come to that soon. Okay. So topics we have done. Okay, so we are right now in authoring topics. We have looked at creating a topic. There's this other one, suggest topics. But before we do that, we will quickly check what happens if I ask this question to my bot. So I'll say more info. Let me just copy paste. More info on Corona. Let's see what happens. I've missed a word. Okay, so not able to get it. Let me just copy paste it and complete my trigger phrase. Okay, See, so I've said more info on coronavirus. That means the bot. So let me just do track between topics and reset it. And let me just copy this. So I've explained track between topics in my previous episode. You can go there to learn more about it. So I'm doing this. Let's see what happens. So what has happened is a user has entered this text. Now the bot went ahead and matched it with the trigger phrases. It found that it was mentioned in the trigger phrases, and the next action or node was to show a message, and it has successfully done that. So that's how it works. Now, that was one way of creating topics. The other one is suggest topics. So now if you've got a SharePoint site or a website where you've got FAQs or Q&As already listed with answers, you can actually use suggest topics, and that's where AI comes into play, because it will tell you that this can be the trigger phrase and this could be the message. So let's look at it. Now you can also see that the topic I created is under the category user topics and not system topics. As I said, they are limited and you cannot change them. Okay, let's click on suggest topics, and it says give me a web page link to be able to do it. So I'll go to this website, and I'm sure because this is public, nobody would mind it. So copy that and paste it here. Now let me just quickly go to the website again to show you what's listed there. So they've got all these COVID-19 questions listed and answered here, right? Everything. So it's a good FAQ about COVID-19, and we're going to ask our bot to suggest topics. Let's see. Add. So we've added that. We've got the link here. You can have, I think you can have more than one at a time. So you've already included this. Let me just do this. And add. So it has added the other one as well. Okay, I'll delete one. So you can have more than one web page links and then hit start. So I'll click on start now. Getting your suggestions. This may take several minutes. So I'll skip this part and see what's the end result. Okay. Go back to the slide deck and see what's next. Oh, okay. So while it's fetching up the suggestions for our web page, we will look at nodes and talk about different types of nodes. So for that, I'll just go to the authoring canvas from here to the top of the topic I just created. So I'll click there and you can see this. Now, as soon as you've added a trigger phrase, by default, the system will add one node of type show a message, which is this one. And that's why I was getting the error, because there was no text in there. Now, if you want to add more, you can click on this. So I'll click there and you can see these are the types of nodes you can use. So you can ask a question back. You can call an action. Close. You can call an action, show a message, which is this one, go to another topic from here, or end the conversation. When you say end the conversation, it gives you two other options. You end it with a survey, which by default I think is, did my answer help you? Yes or no, and transfer to the agent is actually to the humans. Go to another topic. So let's ask a question is basically asking a question back. So if I add that, you can see, what's your question I can ask? What's your question on COVID-19? And I will say, okay. use this entire response. I've taken that as a variable, save response as variable checks, basically your question on COVID-19. So that's how you add a question. Let me do another one. One was show a message. You can see the system is smart enough that if you're adding a node in between, it's not showing you end conversation because you further asked a question. But if I click here, it will show me end conversation. So I can say end with survey, right? So I can do that. Now let's test this again, and I'll reset this. I'll hit save so that it's saved. We'll try it again. More, just type it. So more info on COVID-19. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it has triggered till here, right? Now, let's say, what's your question? So it has asked whatever I asked the bot to do, or howsoever I laid out my conversation path related to this trigger phrase. Now, I'll say nothing. I'll check the website. Let's see what happens. Cool. So it has ended the conversation here, right? Did that answer your question? I can just say yes. Now, you will see that I did not add these trigger phrases, right? So let me just click here. It will take me back to this authoring canvas, and then it has ended the conversation, but based on my yes or no. Right, let me just click on yes. It is going back to another topic, and that's where I've just check marked this drag between topics so that I can see where did it go. Did that answer your question? That's a Boolean field, right? Which is a yes or no, and I selected yes. So it's equal to true, and that's why I'm getting this, right? So it sends out further. So you can see PRR survey question. So that's what it has sent out. And let me select this. And that's it. Right, so it's done. As soon as I hit that, it takes me further to another condition. So it keeps on growing. Thanks for your feedback, right? That's what I received. And after that, can I help with anything else? Because they are joined. So that's how this conversation layout is. Now, we have understood topics. We have understood nodes, different types of nodes. Let's go back to when we were trying to create suggested topics. So let's go here. You have 64 new topic suggestions. So I'll just go here, right? Now you can see I've got all the info, right? Let me just click on them. So I've got suggested this. It says, what is a pandemic? It answers that. And end with survey. It has already done that. All I need to do is add to topic, right? You can also add to topics and edit. You can make changes if you would like. Now think about this. This is so easy that if you've got a current website, it's so easy to migrate to the Power Virtual Agent, because all you need to do is provide the link and it auto fetches everything for you. So I can add as well as edit it, or I can just add it to the topic, or I can delete it. Let's look at if there is a simple way. So let me expand the column. It says delete it here, or it gives you an option right here. You can add it to the topic right from here. So I've added that. And I will add this one as well. Now we'll quickly test it. So I'm sure you must have understood the process of creating suggest topics or topics from suggestion is much easier than creating a new topic itself, because all you need to do is provide a URL of the website where FAQs are. Now I'll ask a question. what is pandemic? Let's see if it answers that. No, it didn't, because I must have missed something. Let me go back to topics. What is a pandemic? Okay, I'll ask it again. What is a pandemic? Let's see. So it will pick this up. Oh no, it won't, because I haven't switched it on. So when you add it from suggest topics, it's not by default switched on, so you have to do that. So let me go back. First, I'll copy this. Let me go back to topics and switch that on and switch that on. Now type my message and it will come back with the same answer which was provided on the website, plus the survey, because it's attached, right? Isn't it cool? It's really cool. Okay, let's look at the next one. So go back. We've understood authoring topics. We've designed the conversation part with different nodes. We understood about triggered phrases. They are the one which triggers your entire chat and how it will pan out within the structure or design you have created in your Power Virtual Agent. We have learned how to create or use suggest topics. Nodes. So there are 5 different nodes which you can add: show a message, ask a question, and the conversation call and action, where if it's call and action you're using, you might have to use Power Automate flows as well, or you can go to another topic. Asking a question, end the conversation. As I said, you cannot end the conversation in between. As you were aware, when I was trying to hit nodes in between my messages, it wasn't showing me end the conversation option, right? So just telling you so you are aware of limitations. Okay, the last part of this video is system fallback. So when your bot is unable to understand what your user's intent is, that's when we use system fallback. So you cannot just say sorry, or your bot cannot just say sorry, I'm unable to understand you all the time. You must have something in place. So for example, I'm a user, I'm chatting with PVA, and it keeps on telling me he's not able to understand me for some reason. There must be a system fallback, which is, just take it's like a pseudo trigger phrase or a pseudo topic, where if the bot is unable to understand the user, we have an alternative. So for example, we'll transfer the chat to human, right? Or to the agent. So the bot can say, I'm sorry, I'm unable to understand you, but I'll transfer you to my team member, or to the agent, or to the human, right? So that's what system fallbacks are. So let's look at it. How you can go about is click on settings, and here you see an option called system fallback. So I'll click there and see how we can create it. It's simple as well. So add fallback topic. So we will add it. Go to fallback topic. So the topic is added, fallback. Go to fallback topic here. One moment, let me get you more help, right? Escalate, or we can add an action here, ask a question further, or show a message. It's escalating, right? So it has already got that in place by default, you can see. So let me just go back, let me see. System fallback, so I can delete this one as well, and yeah, I can just add it by clicking on add. So close. Let's try it. I will ask something which is not in the topics, and there are no trigger phrases I've added related to that. So let's ask, how old are you? Let's see. So there was no trigger phrase like this in any of my topics. So it said, one moment, let me get you more help with how old are you? To connect with a person now, click on the following link, right? The link has to be there, which I haven't provided, correct? So let me just say, transfer to agent, we'll do that. We have added this to our system fallback and we'll save it. We will reset it. Just remove this and save it again. And just ask that question one more time. Okay. And that's all. Let me go back to my slide deck. That was the last slide. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Do comment any suggestions you have. Next episode will be interesting as well. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.